and I am going to be sharing my story about teaching and learning with digital technologies. COVID-19 has changed the attitudes that some of us still had towards the use of technology for teaching and learning. The use of digital technologies is no longer a matter of choice, and as such, Wise Up and some other technologies have now been used extensively. I have used Wise Up since the introduction, but not at the extent that I do now. I've learned to use different tools in Wise Up and have grown from strength to strength, and as such, I'm here to share my story, hoping to inspire enthusiasm and willingness to others. I'm also here hoping to go out having learned how to resolve some of the challenges that I have been experiencing. The use of technology has improved my performance. Some technologies that I am using, I have used them for the first time for the purposes of teaching and learning. And I am one of the people who has stepped on the new grounds with regard to teaching methodologies. My confidence in the use of a variety of Wise Up tools in conjunction with other technologies has developed. The types of technologies that I use are a wide range of technologies that I use for different purposes and for different reasons. Blackboard, Wise Up, is used for sharing content with students, interacting with students, enable interaction between students, assessment for learning, as well as assessment of learning. I use Wise Up as it is an approved institutional learning management system. I also use WhatsApp for sharing content with students, interacting with students, and enabling interaction amongst themselves. I considered the use of Wise Up after my students requested that they prefer using WhatsApp, claiming that they have challenges accessing Wise Up. Another technology that I use is quizzes, which I use as a strategy to build curiosity, to spice up the classroom, as well as assessment for learning. I am now going to showcase how I use Wise Up as a tool for teaching and learning. When I log into my Blackboard, I choose a course which is going to be a business management 2. Then, since I have already indicated that I use Wise Up to share content with my students, I made it a point that what I share with them in the Wise Up is going to enable them to understand the content. So I customize my page so that they can be able to follow it. Under the home page, I've got course information, and in the course information, that is where I share the introduction of the course, where I give them a brief background about the course and how it fits into the entire qualification. And then I also have assessment methods, where I share with them the assessment methods that will be used throughout the course of the year in order to assess their competence. And lastly on that, I have the course outcomes, which are the exit outcomes for the course. And then I have my lecturer details, where I give them my details so that they can be able to contact me whenever they wish to. And then I also attach a learner guide, which guides them through and gives them an outline of what it is that we're going to be dealing with. From there, I have my modules that I create. For this particular course, we've got 2 modules. It is operations management and financial management. And in operations management, we've got about 5 topics, as you can see there. And then in module 2, which is financial management, there's only 1 topic. So I create the modules and also the topics inside those modules. Then, when I have created these modules, I go to the module, create a module folder, and share what the module is all about. And then inside that module folder, I then build content wherein I put the topics that will be covered, as well as the specific learning outcomes of that particular module. From there, I create the topics which are now going to talk to the different contents that we are going to be covering inside that module, where I have also my topic folder with specific learning outcomes that talk to that particular topic. And then I create my lessons based on the learning outcomes that I have to cover in that particular topic. And then for each lesson, I provide the learning outcomes that will be addressed by that particular topic. And then I have attached some videos, which I usually use them as a guided way of learning, where I would attach a video and have some questions that are guiding them as to what it is that they actually have to come out with from watching that particular video and be able to discuss. So this is where I actually make the content available to students. I also have some PowerPoint slides that I attach, and I also have activities at the end of the topics. So this is a way of me making the content available to my students. Then also I said that with Wise Up, I also make the students, I enable the students to interact with myself as the lecturer. So I create discussion trends under the discussions, where I would post some topics so that my students are able to comment and allow others to comment on the comments that have been put by the others. Then I allow them some time to interact, and then after some time, when I see that they have posted some comments, then I step in and ask. I normally ask follow-up questions and more probing questions, so that even if one has not answered or commented in the correct manner, he gets to understand that there's more that he has to share than what he has already shared. So those are, or this is a way where I create a platform for me and my students to interact, as well as interact with others. And then, with regard to the assessment for learning, I use Wise Up for assessing for learning. And I use diagnostic assessments, where I normally ask questions which I create aside, attach them, and then enable them to be able to respond, so that I can be able to know how to approach them with regards to a particular course. And then assessment of learning. I use tests for assessment of learning, where I have now recently learned that there is a way of creating a pool of questions, where you go to course tools, you create a pool of questions from which the questions that would be written by a student would be extracted. The one thing that I have noted with the use of the pool is that it is very much important that when you allocate the marks, you allocate equal marks, so that the system can be able now to randomly select, and not to let other students write a total that would be more than the other students have written. And that has worked for me. I use it for the first time, but I did not have problems with it. And then once I have provided the test, I am able to also mark it on the screen and make the marks available to the students. And the other now technology that I use is WhatsApp, which I give instructions to the students to download the materials that I have uploaded in WhatsApp, in WiseUp, sorry, and I use it to facilitate learning by explaining the materials that I've uploaded in WiseUp. And students are also given an opportunity to ask questions, as well as respond to questions that are asked during the session. And students also have an opportunity to ask questions outside the classroom setting. I also use quizzes, and I said that I use quizzes as a strategy to build curiosity and as well as assess for learning. Live games are prepared and are given during the lecture, where students are provided a link which I share with them through WiseUp. They log into the live game, they play the game during class, and it has proven to work, and in terms of spicing up the classroom. I also use it for assessment, for learning, because those questions that are asked there, they then realize when they get their scores, and when after each and every response that they give to a question, they get to realize that they did not understand some of the parts, and then we get to go over the parts that have not been understood. Coming to the results of using the technologies, I have been able to facilitate teaching that accommodates different learning styles of students. Students have been afforded an opportunity to learn at their own pace as they are able to access the materials at all the times. I'm going to be able to cover the syllabus as now things are going faster and have time for revision. I have been able to keep up with the due dates for the submission of assessment marks, and I have been able to give students enough opportunities to write, improve their marks, and gain exam entry. The challenges that I've encountered, one of them is the reluctance of students to use Wise Up, the inability to determine if the student has accessed the learning material that is uploaded, lack of participation in the discussion forums, inability to hide the total column in the full grade center, which enables students to see their marks before you make them available to them, and the high level of cheating in assessments. The plans that I have for the future are that I am planning to allocate time for discussions in the discussion forum, so that it becomes one of the activities that one has to do or must do as a student, as currently they perceive it as a voluntary exercise. I will also allocate marks for participating in discussions. Tests will no longer be available for a long time to eliminate chances of cheating. I shall also learn to formulate other types of questions, and as well as to learn how to mark assignments online without having to print them out. The impact that I have had on other colleagues. As colleagues, we always share our frustrations for marking. So ever since I started using the online assessments, I had nothing to share. I then shared my relief with my colleagues who showed interest and asked if I can assist them, with what I did, and which I did. During the lockdown, I also assisted a colleague from another campus with the basics of sharing content with students and creating assessments. And the colleagues that I have assisted have reported positive results. Thank you very much.